Okay, welcome everybody. This is the Ogdensburg Bridge and Port Authority Board meeting. It's Thursday, August 2nd at 5:45 p.m. Wade, I'll ask you if we have any letters of communication you'd like to share with the board and the public.
There's one I'd like to specifically point out and also put a public thank you with it. It's at the top of the board packet. This is a copy of a memo to the Acting Commissioner, U.S. Customs and Border Protection from Congressman Bill Owens on our behalf, advocating that the Ogdensburg Bridge be included on the wait times registry. This is something that for the past 3 years we've tried unsuccessfully to get on the wait times registry. And the reason it's important is because that's your electronic version. If you're traveling on the 401, you pull up the CBSA wait times registry or the Customs and Border wait time registry. You can use that to make a decision on where you want to cross the border. The important thing here is we didn't qualify for the registry because we didn't have a long enough wait. So ironically, we didn't show up on the list. Messina did, Thousand Islands did, we did not. Through Congressman Owens' assistance, we were included effective August 1st on the Customs and Border Protection's wait times registry, and that will be reciprocated by CBSA. So now if you're a U.S. or Canadian traveler traveling on the 401 or here in northern New York and you want to avoid wait times, you can clearly see where to go. So I would like to thank Congressman Owens.
Yeah, and follow that up a little bit if you want on there. And what happens is you go to the Thousand Island Bridge and they'll tell you how many lanes are open, how many cars are waiting, whatever's going on. It's so you show us, it shows no wait time, whatever. That's important.
You'll beat out Messina.
Huh?
You'll beat out Messina every day.
Yeah. Amen. Letters. Okay. Anything else? Wait on that.
The only other things in the packet are general correspondence and news articles from the period.
Next is approval of board minutes for meeting held on July 12th.
Move that.
The only thing that I want to move that, I have a second?
Second.
Second. Question, comments, what I have out of that meeting was we asked for insurance for a 2-year agreement or multiple year agreement, and I thought Fred, do we have something to move on that?
That's in that. I'm pretty sure there's a...
No, we approved the 1 year.
They're just asking about.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was.
Oh, hi.
You read on the front end.
We got quoted for, we asked for a multi-year
Yes.
quote,
Yes.
okay, and we agreed on one, and they did have come up with a 2-year agreement now?
Yes, we asked for a 3-year deal. They gave us a 2-year deal
2 years.
at the same price. So our I think it's 108,000, and
They froze it for
per
2 years.
year, and they approved it for 2 years.
So we saved a little money by going 2 years.
Yes, we will.
Very good.
Absolutely.
No, we don't need a resolution, that was just something we agreed
The
upon.
only thing that was in the resolution to ask for more years.
Yeah.
Yes,
Three years,
yes,
so
it
it's
was.
passed. Okay.
It was.
Excellent.
And I accepted that as soon as they
Yeah.
offered it.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Sorry, I startled you.
Yeah.
I don't think the guy wanted to come back
Good
and see
morning.
me again.
You didn't want to see you again. Come back again. All those in favor, accept the board minutes?
I made a motion.
Airplane.
Seconded by Doug.
No, we have that. No. Have it. All those in favor, signify
Yeah.
by saying aye.
Oh, aye.
Aye. Okay. Any comments or presentation by citizens? I don't see anybody. Press, you have anything you want to add tonight, anything? Everything's gonna be favorable? Thank you very much.
Give another cookie quick.
Yeah, thanks for coming to meetings, by the way. It is appreciated. Wait, let's go to staff reports.
Okay, before I forget, there are some dates that we need to talk about. And a date when CNS can come up and do a presentation, probably to the facilities committee, I assume would be the appropriate place. The dates in August they have available are August 27th, August 28th, August 31st for August 8th. Does any of those dates?
Now, what day of the week are the dates? That's all I'd like to know.
Okay, hang on. 27th?
Wednesday's a bad day for
Monday. 27th, wow.
The 27th is a Monday, the 28th is a Tuesday, and the 31st is a Friday.
Yeah, I'd rather have a Monday or Tuesday, Mr. Chairman.
I'd like Monday. Don? Monday or Tuesday?
I don't have a particular problem with that.
Okay, Monday, 27th?
Yeah.
Okay. You got
Monday,
that?
27th, morning, afternoon, what works best?
Steve, what time you need me in the afternoon or morning?
Yeah, but you said it was facilities
I
committee,
know,
so
but I
I
just
went
wanna know
into
where we're
next,
going.
I went into left field.
I'd rather
I'm
do a
sorry.
morning meeting if we could.
Okay, 8 AM? No, that's too late.
No,
Early
it's
for
fine.
me.
These guys are coming from
I'll be coming from
Syracuse?
Syracuse.
Facilities, yeah. 8 AM, a little early for them, would it be?
Maybe 9?
Say 9 o'clock?
9 o'clock, okay.
What date?
Well, it gets down back in this office.
August 27th.
Okay, so 8/27 at 9 AM.
That's facilities.
My staff report's in your packet. I'd be happy to answer any questions that you have regarding the report. A lot of good things. We've been working on this period.
Wait, I've got one. The Port Access Road project.
Yes.
What's the status of the fencing? I know when 4th Street residents were here, we said it wouldn't be up till September. Have we worked with them?
The status of the fencing is going to be at the top of the grade next to the Port Access Road. And all but one section will be installed with this project. The other section we'll have to install later. Plus, there is an additional section that we'll have to install over to the east of the Port Access Road entrance. The property boundary fence will be installed, but there's one other section of fence that we need to install. That runs parallel to 4th Street.
If I remember correctly, in the meeting today, to install the fence, I mean, we'd like to have it right on the, you can't do that. Because they can't install the fence right where the machinery can't get in there or whatever, so it has to come away from the cliff a little further. I don't know what that distance may be, but it'll be back just a short distance away from where that line is, so they get their equipment in, so they don't go tumbling down the hill.
And so it'll be at the top of the hill as opposed to the side of the hill.
So we have notified the neighbors? of
No,
the-
there's no reason to notify them on that particular issue. We have notified the neighbors on 2 other particular issues, though. One is, it occurred early July, and it was, I'll paraphrase here, the authority set the corner points. If you agree with it, let us know by date such and such, I forget the specifics. If we don't hear from you, we assume you're in agreement, and we'll start to maintain to those points. If you are in disagreement, get a survey done at your expense and respond to us accordingly.
Okay.
And that's
Now, has the
where that's
restaurant done that?
The restaurant has done that, yes.
So he's happy with the marks and everything?
No, he is not. There's
Okay.
additional stuff that needs to be done in the case of the restaurant.
And are we in agreement with the additional stuff that he's talking about? I don't know what that is it?
That needs to be referred to legal.
So we need to talk about that.
Yes.
I just wanted to report to the board, last night I happened to have the opportunity to meet with Senator Patty Ritchie, and she thanked us, and she wanted me to thank you folks for taking care of what you've done down there. It looks nice, the piles are down, it really looks good for the people that seem to be happy with it, the way it's going. And I indicated to her, once this road's done, and once the safety fence is done, we will then turn to the property owners and work out something with them on what they're gonna do behind them that's owned by us. And if they sign the releases and everything, and if everything is proper legally, then we'll go ahead with that. But we're still gonna own and maintain the property, just like we do with Crookshank and anybody else. They're gonna have to follow these certain rules to protect the interests of the authority in the state of New York. She was happy with that. So she was very happy with the way things are going. So I just wanted to share that with her.
I talked to him, I confirmed the same thing, said the same thing to me.
Any other questions?
Thank
No?
Thank you.
You know they're already grass seeded down there?
I haven't been down there, but
They grass seeded down on back of the houses, they were
Oh,
putting
did they do
topsoil
that
down
already?
in there. It looked nice last night.
good.
I was down there watching them do it. So,
Did
you should have the cattails up pretty soon.
Did you wanna go through this, Wade, or you just wanna just?
I can, but, you know, I just soon.
You got a highlight there, anything you wanna highlight to us?
No, I mean,
Okay.
it's the usual cast of characters. The one thing I would mention though, that's different here, is bullet item 2, Transport Canada discussions, IBTA, International Bridges and Tunnels Act. You've heard me mention this from time to time. This is the security regulations that the Canadians will be imposing upon the bridge. There needs to be an MOU negotiated between ourselves and Transport Canada, and at some point that will need to come before the board for approval. That's just the Canadians catching up in regulations. I guess that's the easiest way to describe it.
Envision that we'll need the advice of our Canadian council at that time?
There will be something there. Yeah, there will be costs, there will be something that we will have to do. As I envision this right now, how it's starting to shape up, it looks more like it's a gigantic procedures manual, similar to what we have at the port for security procedures. But again, it's not, they're only in the midway through of doing these for the entire bridges. They're class 2 and class 3 bridges. So I don't have a definite answer for you at this point.
How's our new sign, did they move along with that?
We had a meeting on that the other day, actually. It's being manufactured and should be installed mid-September, correct, Steve?
Late September. Yeah, no, we're.
There's a time zone as you go down the page.
I don't know, from
Just
your
being
right, it's
conservative.
You
slower.
guys been here too long today, I can tell you that.
Mr. Chairman, I have something on
Yeah, go ahead.
Wade's report. I think earlier we kinda, me and you might have talked about it or somebody, but this Cape Air thing, I would like to know if we could talk to them about running a special maybe, or try to advertise that they're willing to run 2 flights in the morning and 2 flights in maybe in the evening to Albany. We can't get a bigger plane, but we could get 2 planes, which would give us 16 passengers capability.
Yeah, they're 9-passenger planes.
All right, so 18. But the thing is it's gotta be advertised for people to know that that is out there, you know, and,
I'll reach out to them.
I'd like to have you reach out to them to see if that's, maybe during the summer months, or something like that, or during the vacations, whatever. If that'll work, people might start booking more if they know there's gonna be more room. Right now.
Flexibility of time
Yeah.
is another thing, yeah, sure. Thanks, man.
I would add that I get a report from Cape Air, and I believe that some of those flights are full day after day after day,
Yeah.
which would give us a good reason to ask, you know, in addition to.
Yeah, because if we called up, if we had to go to Albany like we're talking about, we might end up not getting on the plane.
Right. Yeah, they must be turning away passengers.
And we're somebody.
Yes. Yes, we are.
Well, an extra
Wherever it's
flight gives them a little more luggage,
Mhm.
and capabilities. Okay, Wade, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Fred?
Yes, my period report is there, and I will, like Wade, ask if there's any questions that anybody has from reading it. I was writing a note on it here that says that we got a 2-year deal from the bridge insurer, and I was writing that actually when you were asking me the question. And completely zoned out.
Is that where your mind was, huh?
Yep, that's where it was on
Okay.
the question. But, so we did get 2 years, we asked for 3, we got 2 at the same price, and I think that was a very good thing that we asked for that. The reports are here, we can go right to those. The one on the top is,
Fred, I'd like to back up to your,
Yes, sure.
to your report.
yes,
How did you, have you finally got the ILA dues thing up to date, and the international's up to date, and the local's up to date? Did you finally get through that?
yes,
I see it in your report here.
yes,
So
yes.
that's up to date.
yes.
Okay.
It's up to date, the mailing of the checks is, I've gotta get the checks mailed out, but we are up to date, everyone has had the correct amount withheld from them.
I'd just like to have you follow up with the president
Okay?
of the Longshoremen's International, and ask him you know, if he's satisfied, and if he's not, to let us know, or
Okay.
we can work that out with him. But I just, because that was one of the main concerns
Yes.
of that structure, and I don't wanna get involved, but he did
Yeah.
make that to Sam and me
Okay.
and stuff.
I'll reach out to him right after I get them mailed. I do have to get them mailed, they're on my desk. Any other questions about my report?
Last time you talked about the web-based clock not
Yes.
working for some people, we got that, the bugs worked out?
They're still not working for a couple of people. What we have a workaround for that, and we are using the web-based clock exclusively now.
At the risk of sounding like a broken record,
Yes,
have we received any audited financials from the New York auditors?
no,
Are they fully aware that we're supposed to give them to us?
no. Their contract does not call for certified, financial
Yeah,
records. They call for the records to be certified by a CPA. That's a big difference.
But they're aware, you've asked.
Oh, I've asked, but
In
that's not
writing?
their, but they're aware that I've asked, they're not aware of that requirement.
But their intent is to use an inside person who
Yes.
happens to
Yeah,
have a
she's
CPA
certified.
license
Yes, yes,
in the state of Vermont, I believe.
yes.
CPA,
She
She's
certifies
certified.
them.
and she definitely said she would never put her license under, you know, scrutiny to have, to lose that license that a CPA has. She specifically told me that in Lake Placid.
They are not independently certified. They're certified.
But I think in the back of our minds, we should have, going forward, when we do a new contract with them, that we need that language in there.
I agree with you.
Along with the inventory information, which we still have not received.
Obviously.
And they probably also should get notification, or maybe you're gonna do that, I'll just leave it.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Well, that Doug's chairman of that committee,
Yeah.
okay? They should get notification that Doug is chairman.
We'll take care of it because we also need to set up a meeting of the railroad committee.
Any more questions of Fred?
We can go to these reports. The top one is the airport report. 980 passengers in July, exactly 490 in and 490 out. The passenger numbers were up last year, as you'll remember. This year, they're up 50% over last year. Year-to-date enplanements are at 1733. At the 490 for July, that would calculate to an annual rate of 5,880. We need 10,000 for the magic number. We can't get there with the number of flights we have if they were all full. So that's why it would be advantageous to add a couple of flights.
Yeah, we might possibly push it if we can add those flights.
Yes. Cape Air reported to me that nearly 29% of the passengers are Canadian flyers.
How much?
29%. 28.97.
And that's why, one of the things I said is they will take a certain part of the year and advertise, and we get
Yes.
the advertisement out there.
Yes.
That they could get, I think we'll fill it.
Mhm.
I think it's gonna take 3 or 4 months to, for instance, if they picked every year from July to Christmas, that they're gonna run that special. So if they don't fill the planes, they don't come. But they come actually for one passenger anyways.
Right, they have to come
Have to.
according to their EAS contract. But I think Cape Air is doing a great job. On the bridge report, auto crossings were up 2.4%. Total crossings up 2.5%. And again, that sounds like a whole lot less than they've been up in the past, but still, those numbers are extremely strong at a total of 80,000 vehicles. And then, the last page is the financial report. This was through June, even though we have got July closed. I did not have time to put the July report together. We just got it closed at the end of the day yesterday. So, as you can see, the port operating income is up significantly, and you know why. Salaries and wages are up significantly, same reason. The ships, maintenance expense is a lot higher for that same reason. A lot of that includes some of the welding and cutting supplies for the ships and other maintenance items.
One of the things I'd like to see, if it's possible, Fred, at the end of the project, towards December, a total amount of wages that was earned
Okay?
with this particular project, where we could let the press know how much money was come into this community and jobs, stuff like that. If it can be done that.
Oh, yeah, yes, it can.
Well, how do you, excuse me, how do you figure Lone Star? They came in, we don't pay them anything.
We don't pay any Lone Star.
But they're coming, I noticed they're using hotels and they're
Yes.
eating and they're staying here.
Mhm.
So that's money
Yes.
into the community that do we have that number? We
No.
have no idea, would we?
Would you, Steve, have a?
Yeah, you could get numbers of people like escorts, you know, on average.
There's a lot of
You
people.
probably got a truck driver and probably 2 to 3 people associated with that truck. You've got basically 10 to 11 trucks a day, so I don't know if some double up or whatever, but just say conservatively 30 to 35 people just associated with that.
Yeah.
And then a lot of the escorts live out in the area, I mean, locally, and they go home, but the truck drivers themselves, so say 10
see
to
it,
12 of
yeah.
them
Steve, you
are
have
right
comment?
there.
Yeah.
When Steve's done. I just, I know the answer to this question, but I've been asked by 2 different people. Why are the state police there and who's paying them? So if you would just say it for public
The
information.
state police are there because they escort the oversized load. It's a requirement under New York State DOT rules. And they are being paid for by the manufacturer.
Not by the
Cars
state.
and-
I just
Right.
want that out.
There's another job in money that.
Yeah.
Yes, some more.
Which is all overtime too.
That's all
Yeah.
overtime.
All
I know,
overtime.
but I mean, still there's money back into our
More money,
economy.
right.
It's all overtime. I can say, though, right now, and it's a long ways from over, that we paid over $500,000 wages.
Over $500,000.
Over $500,000 right now for longshoremen.
In regards to the longshoremen.
Longshoremen only, yeah.
Mhm. That's
Over
great news.
$500,000 right at this, as of right now, over $500,000.
Well, if you think of the whole project, you think of the road being built,
Oh, yeah.
the money there, and, both projects coming on together, it's a little boost in the economy.
Yes,
Product.
it's a big boost.
Yeah. Anything else, Fred?
No, any questions about any of these reports?
Let me look.
Let me look. Steve, I know you've been bored
The new
with
Walter.
your job lately, but. First of all, let me tell you something. It's, nobody said it in public, or it's really appreciated how hard you work. I mean, staying overtime and all the things you've done. It's really ought to be commendable to you and think it's much appreciated. I know it comes with a job, but
Got a lot of support
I know
from everybody there.
it's recognized
Thank you.
what's going on. Much appreciated. I'll give you a report now.
Oh, you want mine? Okay.
No, it's good.
Probably the only one highlight, and,
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead, Steve.
That's what-
Poor John's getting beat up here left and right.
Go ahead,
John says.
John was saying to skip me anyway.
I'm done.
Take over for John.
Bless yourself.
Go ahead, Steve.
Probably the one highlight, I just talked about the Coast Guard annual inspection, and probably Wade will appreciate it more than anybody, because he knows what we go through there, but the Coast Guard gave us a no deficiency thing. But I'd like to take time out that a year ago, Wade took it upon himself to go to the Coast Guard at some of the board's direction, and we reconfigured things that made it easier to manage the port, I mean, in a secure way,
Uh-huh.
and it made it more functional, and, it was a lot of work at the time, and especially for Wade, we had to have meetings with the Coast Guard, and he got that done, and we ended up, this was our first one on that plan, and you really see the value of it. And we were able to manage all those things properly, and it was a lot, it went really smoothly, and we got a no deficiency on that end, and I appreciate his help in that, with that, but, that was probably my big highlight for that, because I was quite worried about it.
That's a really big deal, Steve, you did a nice job.
Boy makes the big bucks.
Anything else, Steve?
No,
No,
just
I mean,
anybody.
Doug, you had a
Steve,
question?
I noticed on front of the airport, runway rehab, the bids were rejected.
Yeah, just because there was one bidder, and the same with the ARF truck. There's only limited manufacturers with the ARF truck. I think there's only 2 that can manufacture in the country that can manufacture, and 1 bid. And I don't know the reason why the other one, and then the other one, it's highly asphalt intensive, and just the nature of it. We had 1 bidder, and by FAA requirements waived, we have to send that back for rebid on the.
Yes, because it was such a large project and there was only 1 bidder, it had to go back for rework.
Okay.
Make a long story short.
Yeah, we'll rebid that by the end of the month, both of them. I yield my time.
The gentleman from Ogdensburg yields your balance this time. The front cover.
The southern gentleman.
They catch me down there all the time.
Did you like John's report? He's all done.
Nice
and brief.
We skipped over.
Well, I wanna go back to Steve. I wanted to say, Steve, I really like the way you cleaned up the airport road out there on 68. Been a long time, and I'm glad to see them weeds and them bulrushes cut down, and it really looks nice out there. And
A lot safer.
a lot safer for the people traveling, the deer and stuff. They can see them ahead of time or whatever. But I really liked what you did out there, and I hope that you'll be able to keep it down. But I know there's going to be water in there.
It just, this summer was great, so we got around a lot of.
Yeah, it looks good out there. We were looking at it
I
last
think
night.
we try to keep it down, it tends, it's easier to mow, but there was a couple years we just couldn't get in there.
Is there anything we can do about stopping that from growing because of the birds and stuff that they're worried about coming up from the plains?
Yeah, plant it on my lawn, it won't grow there.
You can't spray in that, eh?
No,
You couldn't spray like Roundup or anything in there?
no, we do it around, just on the fences.
Just around the
for
fences,
weeds,
eh?
yeah.
But it looks nice, I just wanted to
I
tell you.
guess you can buy hip waders.
Is that what you saw at 11 o'clock last night?
That's where I was, 11 o'clock last night. Yeah,
Moving right along. John, give us your report.
Just to summarize, I met with a wind farm developer in the area. If it gets approved, it'd be a 2014-15 project. We quoted on a variety of heavy lift cargo that you see in my report. Have a meeting set up in a week with the grain customer that looks fairly promising. Under industrial development, we've had a couple of inquiries for space. We have a marketing meeting set up for August 13th at 9 a.m. with some proposals for action from DCG floor plan that the committee members can consider. We're still working on the new exporters to border states event will be held in October. I met with the executive director of United Helpers regarding Sparks. Doug, I think you had mentioned that at the last meeting. So we had a very good meeting. He toured our space as well as the port facility. He was interested in the grain products that we had down there. So I think we've got a seat at their table with their working group. So good. That's about it.
I noticed the percentages of space vacancy. What growth have we made in that? I mean, do you keep track of that? I know
It's been pretty consistent actually over the past,
couple of years.
well, yeah, since Breckenridge, I would say, yeah, it's been pretty consistent. Yeah.
So if you filled Breckenridge, our numbers would be pretty good. That's what you're saying?
Yes. Oh, they'd be very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. They were our largest tenant, so.
John, when you're doing all this stuff with the grain and everything, will you try to see how much tons of corn and grain we've lost due to the drought and everything that's out there in the Midwest? You know, just, you see
Yeah.
it?
Actually, it might go the other way because of this one, it's an existing customer, and, the drought may mean that they bring product into us.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
I feel bad for the farmers out there that's gotta get rid of all their cows, and, I mean, they just can't feed them.
Yeah.
And there's nothing they can do, but of course, right now, it's, it's to buy a market on that because of the, whatever's happening, and then, of course, we're gonna get hit 6-8 months later because of that, so it's.
Yeah, I met with them in Montreal and fully expected them to say, we're not doing that this year, price of corn's way too high, and it was just the opposite. 'Cause they
Oh, that's
they'll
good.
be bringing it in if they go ahead with it, we'll see what
Yeah.
happens.
Okay, thank you.
More questions, John? Okay, committee reports, personnel committee?
The personnel committee is got one issue, and I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Davis to talk about that particular issue.
Actually,
Item toll booth.
Mr. Personnel Chairman, there are two issues on the agenda tonight. One is appointment of toll collector, the other is an appointment of toll clerk. Agenda item A1 and A2.
Okay.
Finance report? Have anything? Nope.
Just real quickly, do you want to chime in on the bank issue, currency exchange, or do you want to hold off on that? 'Cause that is a finance issue.
Yes, I can mention we're, and I think we've talked about it before, our exchange rate. I think if you look at the exchange rates on a regular basis, you will know that the dollar, the Canadian dollar are near par. One side or the other, but it's been very, very near par. Our exchange rate with the bank is a couple of points less than that for administrative expense. In other words, fees, really, fees for exchanging money. And so far this year, it's cost us $10,000 for that exchange, because it's hard to justify charging Canadian customers more when our dollar is at par. So that's costing us it. Where I think we need to look into our banking arrangements and see if there's a better deal on exchange rates. It appears there may not be, but I don't think appearances are good enough. We need to ask for bids on our banking business.
And that's an issue, an upcoming issue coming to the finance committee near you. That's the point of that.
Is there any
There's
such thing as having a Canadian bank account?
That is one thing that I think we should consider in that finance committee meeting, because we do have a few Canadian expenses. And if we had a Canadian bank account, and then another possibility might exist that we could get a better.
I don't think our
deal.
legislation allows us to do
No.
that.
Is that right?
I don't think we can have bank accounts in Canada.
No,
Well,
I'm
that's
not,
good.
yeah.
That's
And I'm not talking about a Canadian bank, I'm talking about a US bank within Canadian funds.
You can do that.
And maybe we would exchange funds once a month rather than every day, every Canadian
Okay.
deposit.
I was
That
thinking
may-
you were talking about,
Going to Canada.
Oh, no,
no.
no. I was talking about a US bank account in Canadian dollars.
You know,
Okay.
if you
I
put enough,
misunderstood you.
if you put enough business through a bank, you should ask for the concession
Yeah.
on the exchange.
And we did.
And if they don't do it, guess what? You
That's right.
You
And
want,
that's
move on
exactly
to
what I
option
did.
B.
Option B, which would be asking other people for that same,
Yes.
that same consideration.
Get on with it, I think we should.
And you have that authority to change that.
Yep.
Was there some thought on having a debit or credit card that you use at the toll booth? That's all we're gonna work toward?
Yes,
Because
absolutely.
I noticed now my credit card is anything under $25, I don't get a receipt, swipe, gone, see you later.
Yep, yep.
You know?
Yeah,
Is that what you're using, is a credit card now to go across the bridge?
No, I have my card. I bought one of those cards, commuter cards.
That's something.
No, I mean, that's something we're working
Yes, we're
toward.
working
and
toward
I
that,
think
yes.
that would be,
Yes,
well,
I do.
okay, unfinished business, Wade, in?
There's not.
Okay. Next board meeting is scheduled for Wednesday the 5th. Look okay for everybody? There was one, I thought Wednesday was a problem.
Well, it is, but,
How about time? You like 3 instead of 4? I mean, Mona and Donnie, I mean,
The later in the day you get for me, the happier I am.
oh, the later in the day?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, then we'll leave it at 4.
Facilities committee at 3 if needed.
Yep.
Does that work?
No, later is better for me too.
Okay. All right. Now, general administration, appointment of toll collector rate on Peoples Street.
Okay, for the agenda item this evening, A4 and A5 you can cross out. And we'll go right into the appointment of toll collector over on page 3 of your packet. In the blank, the name is Michael Escoffrey. Just going through this, an opening was created at the toll booth. A grade 9 toll collector position notice was posted internally as required by the agreement. No internal applications were received. Per the agreement, we posted externally and advertised in the Journal and Watertown Times. We received 245 applications and conducted 8 interviews. We met with the Personnel Committee back on July 25th to discuss the position vacancy and review the interview results. As a result of that meeting, Personnel Committee discussion along with staff recommended Michael B. Escoffrey be appointed at the position of toll collector at the hiring rate of $14.78 per hour at the annual salary $30,742, effective on or about August 8th, 2012. It should actually be August 9th, 2012, my apologies. And this does come with a 1-year probationary period consistent with the CSEA labor agreement.
I make that motion.
I'll second.
Any further questions, comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Agenda item A2 on page 4 is the appointment of an account clerk. As you know, we had a recent retirement in the account clerk position that created an opening. We posted it internally, we received 1 application. Internally, we met with the Personnel Committee on July 25th to discuss the position vacancy in the applicant. And it's recommended by staff and the Personnel Committee that Jessica Main be appointed to the position of account clerk at the hiring rate of $20.39 per hour, or at the annual salary $42,411. And this would be conditional upon a 1-year probationary period, 1-year probationary period consistent with the CSEA labor agreement.
Do you have to keep that 1-year probationary period, or can it be adjusted at any time?
It's in the contract as 1 year.
Okay, so they're,
But it could be adjusted with the union via the MOU.
And it is understood that this person, if not acceptable by you folks, will go back to the toll booth.
That is correct.
And you got, what, a year to do that?
1 year per the CSEA labor agreement.
And that's for the,
Either party,
either part.
either party.
I make a motion that we accept this position.
a second?
I'll second.
Steve? Further questions, comments? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. There's one thing I wanted to point out on agenda item A1. I do want to bring this to the attention because it was in the resolution section. This was the appointment of the toll collector. The further resolve portion I didn't mention publicly, and I should have. The shortlisted applications will remain active for a 6-month period. I just want to point out that it's in there.
It's in there, right?
Yes, it is. It's in the resolution, but it wasn't publicly mentioned. I forgot about that. Agenda item A3. This is something you should have seen in January. It's one of our many compliance requirements things. We missed it. That's the long and the short of it. Each January, we're supposed to complete a standard workday and reporting requirement resolution. We did it last year. We didn't do it this year. So this is a housekeeping matter. What it does, it establishes the standard workday for the appointed officials. The definition of officials under Office of the State Controller equates to our definition of management team here. We'll report 8 hours per day, 40 hours per week, 5-day work week.
Well, it's gonna shorten your day, Wade.
That had not occurred
I
to me.
never thought of it,
What about Steve's day?
Cut in half.
Cut his right in half, yeah.
Ships are gone, you can go home.
No, the way it works.
And this form is an RS 2417-A.
So that, how late are we on this form?
It should have been done in January. It was not done in January.
Supposed to be done every January?
It's supposed to be done every January. We've got it captured. It's already in the January 2013 file. So we'll catch it going forward. It was a new requirement that came out last year. Our first one we updated November 9th, 2011 was the last time we acted on this.
Did we know about this at this particular time because they got a hold of us?
We had a visit from the controller's office the other day that said you might want to get this in. And after we figured out what they were talking about, we did a little bit of digging, found the form, and for some reason it was not done in January. It should have been, but it wasn't.
Is there a mechanism that triggers things, because, I mean, so many reports and things are
Calendars.
just, huh?
You just put on your calendar, that's all.
I know, but I mean, some things are just, you know,
Sometimes the state comes up with these new things, I saw one the other day, it's in a statute, but they never disseminate to the people it's going to affect. So they don't read these things or have access to law, they blissfully go on their way, don't know they're violating the law.
but I'm
Happens all
just
the
saying,
time.
in our email world, whenever, I mean, if you get an email that says this is so-and-so do, whatever, from some agency, it doesn't happen.
No, and
It's
they
your
also-
responsibility
they'll
to say,
also
It's
call
our
you.
responsibility to keep up with it. In fairness, we never received any email, but we wouldn't normally. We were like,
The state will call
Yeah,
you,
pick it up the next time.
they'll call you and tell you, have you
I make a
seen it?
motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Any comments, questions? All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
If there's any penalties, way to pay it.
Over faster than them.
No problem.
Budget.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman, that
that's
concludes
it.
the regular
Okay,
business.
that's- we have any, is there something else?
This just in.
Just in. Kate Burns is
We
flew
got a
in.
Cecily's report coming.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, we need to do some work.
I don't know what the- how many we got. This is quite a big pile of stuff that you're at. What is this?
This is in other such matters. It's an approval of a lease agreement with Faro Technologies. This is a company that repairs telephone system, Mitel telephone system, in the, that we set up in the park for 3,300 square feet in the 11th Industrial Building at the rates, terms, and conditions you see before you.
How many jobs is this gonna create?
Out of the gate, this will create up to 5 within the next couple of years, between, what was the latest number, 20 and 30?
Yeah, it's kinda,
The beginning of a new one.
yeah,
Yes.
they're just starting
But
out, so it's.
you're giving them a year's free rent because of the creation of the jobs. Am I hearing that?
That's correct. On a 5-year agreement. They pay the utilities.
So they, instead of being, they're
So-
paying for heat and lights and stuff.
And then on August 13th, July 31st, 2013, we're gonna get $5 a square foot for 5 years.
That is correct, and it will escalate by the CPI.
Now, did we mention that in there?
Yes.
All clear?
It's in the report, it's also in the resolution section.
Okay. I make a motion that we accept this.
Second.
Remember, folks, this is a free ride for a year because of the creation of the 5 jobs. I give you
A motion second, further questions, comments? In favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That's it. That's it. Any motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn. Mr. Chairman, before that, would you mind just reading that into the record? And then we'll adjourn.
Mr. set up a board meeting?
Yeah, just, we're not gonna have one, just make sure it's.
Okay. All right, for the record, guys, there'll be no bonus station meeting for the month of August.
Okay.
Okay, now we'll go to adjourn.
I make a motion.
And
I'll
Mona,
second.
Mona's second, all in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 There you go.
You stayed there a long time, I don't know.
Well, I miss it a lot of times too. Yeah.
Freddie, you gonna go check it out tonight?
What?
To see if the plane can go with or without lights.